Hi, Faith. Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting us. Actually, you know, when you don't pay small businesses, what it means that salaries are not getting paid. It means that suppliers are not getting paid. It means that you are denying the small business an opportunity to grow and scale up and create more jobs. So according to the former Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Rob Davies, he estimated that as much as 70% of small businesses die in the first 2 years. And you and I can actually speculate about what happens. And the late payment is one of the biggest contributors to that figure.
I mean, we're speaking about late payment here. Could also be another problem be the fact that there is, vested interest, especially on behalf of public servants. Now, you would appreciate that public servants are allowed to have businesses, but they must declare them. But then on the other side of it, then you almost find a situation where businesses and opportunities, especially when it comes to public sector opportunities, are being given to those individuals that have got a foot in the door inside the public servants' departments, right? So it's those who have got some kind of link within government themselves, because otherwise you wouldn't have come up with those statistics around corruption and the failure to deliver on payment, especially for people who've done the job.
Especially, I think we all have to speak out against corruption. But by the way, this is just a fraction of the problem. When you talk about the public sector, when you're talking about government departments, they are not the only culprits here. The state-owned companies are also as guilty, as are big businesses in South Africa. So as SBI, sometime last year, we wrote to all the top 100 listed companies on the JSE and asked them about their payment policies towards small suppliers. Guess what? Only a fraction of them came back to us. And those, even those that came back to us, they decided not to give us the information, citing confidentiality and all sorts of things. We think this is not acceptable. So corruption, as well as dragging your feet as big businesses and parastatals, is completely unacceptable. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, it seems, because we were promised 2-3 months ago by the Minister of Small Business Development, the new Minister of Small Business Development, that government will be making an announcement about this issue of late payments. We are waiting for that announcement.
Are you chasing in terms of exactly, when this announcement will be made? Because, again, these issues are not issues that are new to the South African business person, to the South African entrepreneur, to the South African really who's watching us right now. It's not new issues here. It's perhaps an issue around political will to make a change. And also, the other side of it is knowing the fact that this one gets a tender because they know someone in this institute or they know someone in this SOE. And as a result of that, even businesses that can get the job opportunity on merit suffer.
Yeah, so I think the deadline has already been missed, but two things have happened in the process. The first one is that the Minister of Finance, through his discussion paper on the economic strategy for South Africa, has included measures on how to deal with this issue of late payments. One of the proposals that he has made, which we support as SBI, is that upon submission of an invoice, once the delays start ensuing, we must charge interest on those on the delayed payment of invoices. The second part is we have written to the Minister of Finance, and we have shared these opinions, by the way, with the Minister of Small Business Development. We've said to them, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are other countries that have already done the job for us. So all we need to do is to just apply those policies. You are quite right, Faith. This is not the first time. President Begi, President Zuma, President Ramaphosa now have all been promising us progress in this issue. So when you are not paying small businesses as a government department, you are already breaking a law. You are breaking a policy of the government of South Africa. So what we need to see now is we need to see action. We need to see penalties. over and above the interest that you can charge as a small business on delayed payments.
And very quickly, before we let you go, John, how do you ensure that the small business is actually protected? And let me be specific. If they charge interest, or if they decide to speak out as a result of late payment or non-payment, or even having solicited some kind of a backhanded payment so that they can speed up their payment processes, right? How then do you start protecting them that the next time the very same institute or the very same corporation does not come back at them and say, actually, you talk too much, so we're not going to give you the opportunity, the business opportunity?
Yeah, there are reprisals for calling out corrupt officials. So part of what we need to do as a country is to use the law enforcement agencies and ask them to, for example, there is a presidential hotline on corruption. That is the one thing that you can do. The other thing, we had an indaba a year ago, and we invited the former public protector, Tulma Donzela, and we asked her if, as a public protector, then she would have entertained a complaint along these lines of late payments. She said, definitely. So I think the duty is now on all South Africans to report to law enforcement agencies and, of course, to use the public protector's office. But all other stakeholders, like the media, also have a role to play.
Yeah. John, we can leave our conversation there for this afternoon, but thanks a lot for joining us and shedding some light in terms of this issue. It's an ongoing issue around a non or late payment, especially of small businesses. John Dludlu there of the Small Business Institute. Still to come.